What is up, fellow CineNerds?
I am JP, and who's got my lucky charms?
And I'm Ryan. And today we're going to talk about the biggest comedy of 1993. No, I'm just kidding.
We can call this a comedy.
What was your pick, JP?
My pick. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me talk about this series, and you've heard me talk about how great Warwick Davis is. This is our St. Patty's Day episode.
I don't know if you can pause and zoom into my notes at the top. I actually put Warwick Davis as a national treasure because I thought that JP was going to say that.
I've said it so many times I don't have to.
Well, hold on. If you had to choose, would you choose Warwick or Walton for the national treasure? Because you say that about both.
Well, the thing is, Warwick is
a knee-high national
British,
treasure.
So he's the British national treasure.
Oh my God.
Walton Goggins is American, so he's the American national treasure.
All right.
So I selected for our St. Patty's Day episode special, Leprechaun.
I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, you can tell in his voice. He's not happy with me.
I'm not unhappy. It's not horrible, but this is one of those ones again, and there's a lot of things like when JP picks movies or I pick movies even, a lot of these are, God, I remember these things fucking being awesome. And then I go back and watch them because now that I'm older and I have taste, and I'm like, whoa, this is so bad. So it's just like one of those things. And again, I say that loosely because I really do genuinely like Leprechaun, but God, was it rough.
Yeah, and you had seen this one before, but it had been a long time.
Yeah, like 20 plus years.
Okay, so initial reactions without giving too much away.
There's a lot of research I did after watching this to dive into the film a little deeper. And the things I found, which I'll discuss a little bit later, the things I found make sense as to why this one wasn't as good as and I haven't seen 2 and on. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to give them the watch they deserve because he raves about Leprechaun in the Hood and the sequel to the Hood one.
Well, and Leprechaun Back to the Hood is better than Leprechaun in the Hood. The sequel's better than the first one. And I love Leprechaun in Space.
But a lot of that was due in part because, Warwick was given more freedoms with it. Warwick was more vested in it, and there's reasons to that, and we'll get into all that.
Yeah. So, was that your initials?
My initial reaction was, thank God Jennifer Aniston was in this. That's my initial reaction because, God, she could light up anything. And it was her debut film, and it's the reason why, anyways, we'll get into more.
So my initial reactions is no notes, perfect film. I've got a lot of notes, but yeah, I love this film. It's a fun film.
Perfect film. All right.
It's not perfect. I'm having fun.
To me, all right, I can give a better initial reaction. To me, this was like if there was only one evil gremlin the entire movie that didn't multiply. And you factor in that comedy, and you could have put the dun 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 dun, the whole little score to Gremlins. It was like a Gremlins Leprechaun film. Like it was if you put a leprechaun hat on a gremlin.
Well, and it was influenced heavily by Critters.
I saw that too, but I especially like there's an ending scene where he's in the well and he's melting, and when he's melting, he reminded me of the gremlin who melted in Gremlins 2. Like there's a whole bunch. So,
well, and this film, there's not a lot of kills in this film. I think I counted. I think there's only 4 actual kills in this film.
No, but there's some great parts, like when he pulls the officer's eye out to use as his own.
Yeah,
there's some good moments.
Yeah, I wrote that in my notes, and I wrote. Let me find it. I wrote, okay, I didn't write it completely in here. But I wrote eye for an eye replacement was my note. But what I was thinking was eye for an eye replacement, Art the Clown ripped off Leprechaun. So
That's a stretch, but sure. So Leprechaun. Oh,
Why are
jailbreak.
you in here?
Jailbreak. We got a cat visitor.
So right now we're going to cut the episode, and I'm going to fix this in post.
So I do want to talk about, and I mistook who he was at first. I thought this actor was Andy Richter, who used to be the co-host with Conan O'Brien, but it's what's his face, Mark Holton. So Mark Holton, if you don't know him, Leprechaun he was in, but he was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He played John Wayne Gacy in the movie Gacy. He's been in a bunch of things through the years.
I called him Teen Wolf in my notes.
Yeah, he was in Teen Wolf. I forgot about that. That's another one. I didn't even see that one. So it was weird, and he plays kind of an autistic or special person in this film. And his best friend is this little boy who is another character in the film, and I don't know. So the movie moves along nicely. It definitely, I definitely did get a comedy vibe off it more than anything. Warwick Davis's Irish accent and the way that he delivers it is quite sensational. His little one-liners, but from what I hear, they only get better through every movie.
They do.
That's the only reason I'm giving this movie yes, it's a second watch for me, and yes, I didn't think highly of it. But everyone I've talked to, and from when I did this research, the movies get better because he's more invested in it. And so the research, what I heard was, where was it? Warwick actually regretted making this film. He did not want to make this film because there was a stint in his career where his wife had passed away just recently, right now. But there was a stint in his career where he didn't want to be listed just as a little person or used as a little person. And his wife said, "Get over it. You are a little person," essentially, and talked him through those moments. And so in this instance, him playing a leprechaun, of all things, was not ideal. He didn't feel great about it. And so he regretted making the film, but then Jennifer Aniston scored her role with Friends. And because she scored her role with Friends, people were looking at this actress, and they were looking back at her career. And the movie she had done just before this, as her first movie, was Leprechaun. Leprechaun all of a sudden started flying off the shelves, being rented more. People were curious about it. It developed a cult following, and the sequels that ensued after were because of that, which he now felt invested in because he felt people cared about this character. So apparently they get better. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and check them out.
And they do. They get more ridiculous. That's for damn sure. But they do get better.
Is there more gore?
Yeah, they do get a bit more gore. They get a lot more comedy, a lot more one-liners with Warwick, and to me, they get so over the top ridiculous that they're just fun. They get a lot more fun.
There was a scene where Jennifer Aniston is the one where she's going to the nursing home, or is it when he's on the tricycle? Is he following her on the tricycle?
He follows her on a tricycle.
But that wasn't the nursing home. That was earlier on. There was something where he's following on the tricycle. But the way that they showed
he followed the tricycle when they went to take the dad to the hospital. Then they went to the diner.
That's right.
And they speed up. He's like on the tricycle, and they speed it up like a.
So you know what that reminded me of? The bully scene in A Christmas Story, where they're chasing back and forth. You see that? That's what it looked like when they did that. And I was like, why'd they do that?
And they do it with the when she goes to the hospital, and he's in the wheelchair, and he's wheeling on the wheelchair.
Yeah. I don't know why he stayed in the wheelchair, but that was kind of funny. I did think that was great.
So, let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. So once the guy that owns this house, he comes back to America. He finds the leprechaun and makes him get his gold, and he comes back to America telling his wife that, hey, we're rich, we got gold from a leprechaun. And the leprechaun is in his briefcase or in his little suitcase, and he gets out by talking like a child, and the wife lets him out. Well, he ends up killing the wife and to get his gold back, and the old man ends up locking him in a crate and knocking him out into a crate. And he has that one line, "Burn in hell, you little green bastard," which I laughed my ass off.
And this is important too. So one of the things they play on in Leprechaun, which is kind of funny, is all your traditional folklore with leprechauns. So there's the pot of gold and the rainbow. There's he's weak from 4-leaf clovers. So in that scene, Danny Boy, he puts I forgot the last name of the guy, but Dan was his first name. So
It is O'Grady.
O'Grady, that's right, old man O'Grady. But he puts a 4-leaf clover on top of this box. He puts him in. He's trapped essentially in this box. He nails in the top of it and he pours gas on it and he's trying to light the gas on fire. He gets up into his kitchen and he's trying to throw a match from upstairs in his kitchen down to it, but he starts to have a heart attack or a stroke, falls over, the match doesn't happen. So, little man,
He gets left there.
10 years go by.
So this is where Jennifer Aniston and her father are coming and moving into the house. So the one thing, and I made a note, and I won't, maybe you know, or maybe the audience knows in the live chat and let me know. I wrote in my notes, and I didn't Google this to see. I was actually going to, and then I forgot. She goes into this basement where the leprechaun crate is, and it's still there. Hasn't been moved in 10 years, just collecting dust. There's fucking tarantulas walking all over this fucking basement. Are tarantulas native to, like, California?
Well, it's New Mexico.
Is it New
It's
Mexico?
New Mexico, and yeah.
Because I was thinking they were in California.
They got spiders, scorpions, the whole bit. So yeah. I don't know about tarantulas.
I was gonna say,
being
but
native.
I didn't.
That may have been a movie.
Yeah, because
mess up.
I mean,
but
yeah, I know there's scorpions and stuff out there, but I didn't think
I don't know about
tarantulas were.
there's some big ass
there.
spiders down there.
If you know if there's tarantulas in New
New Mexico.
Mexico, let me know.
That was the other funny part. So the O'Grady's, for whatever reason, they're Irish as Irish can be, and they have the thick accent, the whole bit. And for whatever reason, they've moved from Ireland, and they own a little like farm ranch in New Mexico, and that was so weird. But they both had the Irish accent. They were
Yeah.
both doing it.
And then my next notes where you were talking about the character Ozzy, the guy from Teen Wolf and John Wayne Gacy movie. I actually wrote Teen Wolf because I couldn't remember his name when I wrote this note, but his character's name is Ozzy. I wrote Teen Wolf is comparable to Tom Collin, Moon, from The Stand. You never watched The Stand?
I watched The Stand. I'm just not remembering the character.
He's like the main guy that's with Rob Lowe, the one that can't communicate with Rob Lowe.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
he spells everything. He's like, that's the sun. You spell that Moon.
Yep,
You know?
I got you. Okay, fair analogy. That one's been a minute too, but we talked about that recently, and you told me to avoid the series. It's not as good as the movie, but yeah.
Well, they're both series.
Well, first one was a short series. There was only 3 nights of movies. It was like 2 hours each night, right?
Yeah, but
And the actual one was episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, short series. Wow.
Sorry, guys. I have a cat that is being very annoying, and we don't want her in here. So
It's impressive though. She turned the door handle twice. But yeah. So you were talking about the character that from The Stand.
yes. So, and I love The Stand. I just rewatched the newer series too. So, and I think that's why watching this, I was like, oh, Tom Collin, Moon. He kind of reminds me a little bit of him because he's slow. The character is slow, and the thing is, the kid is such a fucking dick to him. Like this kid is an asshole. Like they find like the gold, and he's like,
He said, "We can get your brain fixed, so you're not stupid."
We'll use this gold to get your brain fixed, so you're not stupid. And then later, she's like, Jennifer Aniston's like, you can't do that. He's like, yeah, but he don't know that. I'm like, motherfucker, you are just you're giving this guy hope, and you're a fucking dick.
Well, at least the kid survived. More sarcasm. Sorry. If there's a Debbie Downer moment,
I actually wrote, kid saying that I'll pay to make Ozzy smart is really insensitive.
JP is now the official DEI CineNerds person. He is it. So outside of Warwick and Jennifer Aniston, I did make a note about Ken Oland and his character. So it's kind of funny because when Jennifer Aniston and her dad arrive at the ranch, Jennifer Aniston has no want to be there. It's not California. She's not happy. She doesn't have all of the amenities she normally would. It's disgusting. It's just that. She is literally like, I almost feel like this is a prequel to Friends because she's Rachel to the fullest, because not only is she being a snob about that, but then this character, Ken Olent, shows up and he's got like a sleeveless shirt on, he's biceps, flowing hair. And she's like, oh, I'll stay. Can we paint? Can we do all this? And can we do that? And I was like, oh, that's pretty textbook Rachel. That is straight up a Rachel thing.
Yeah.
And I get.
She saw that guy and was like, oh, I can stay here now.
But if you're not hip to this character, Ken Olent, I looked at him a little bit because I was like, I know this guy from so many 80s roles.
Yeah, and he did a TV series, and I can't remember what it was.
He did the soap opera. It was in Young and the Restless forever.
No, there was a TV series. I felt like it was a science fiction TV series.
Well, he was on Star Trek Next Generation.
Wasn't that one?
He was in the movie Summer School.
I do remember him.
Highway to Heaven, The Fall Guy, Airwolf, and he was in the movie April Fool's Day.
I do remember him in April Fool's Day. There is a TV show.
He was in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all like one episode here, one episode there. It's nothing crazy, but
yeah, I'm gonna look this up real quick. You keep going.
All right.
Here.
So I got some facts that I liked about this movie too. At the time, the vice president was Dan Quayle, and Warwick, he needed a working visa, and so they gave a credit to Dan Quayle, Vice President Dan Quayle, in the credits, thanking him essentially for speeding up the working visa. They also gave a credit to George Lucas in it because George Lucas had Warwick on a working contract, and he freed him to do this Leprechaun movie. I thought those were kind of cool. But yeah, outside of that, this movie as a whole, it gets better. It keeps moving along. There's some parts where I wish, like when they're at the whole sequence in the middle when they're at the farmhouse and they're trying, Warwick's trying to get the coins. Or there's one coin left. Jennifer's already returned all the coins to him, and they're like stuck in this house now. And it doesn't matter what you do to Leprechaun because he's a cursed demon. Essentially, he's a cursed Leprechaun because he sold his soul for his money.
And the sequels go into this a bit more.
Is there an origin movie? Did I see that too?
Yeah, but Warwick's not in that. That's that's like later after they tried to reboot it, and they did it with two different actors. They did two more films without him, and they were like, ugh.
Did you notice in the movie too the difference with the stunt double?
Yeah,
they're significantly differently proportioned.
So, talking about that Ken guy, he did a TV series in the early 90s called Super Force, and I'm probably the only motherfucker in the world that remembers this series. But it was a science fiction series where he was like a vigilante cop.
Lava Angelas.
He was like a vigilante cop, and he had like this badass motorcycle that he basically went after criminals on. And yeah, it was.
I'm just saying, this is the shit that JP finds, so I expect nothing less.
I knew there was something though.
Super Force. But the sequence that kind of unfolds after during when they're in this whole house, holy shit, is it drawn out? It's way too long. It's just too much going on. I feel like they could have kind of rushed through that a little bit more, because we still had a whole other sequence I didn't know about. Because once we got past this point at the farmhouse, and now they found out about Mr. O'Grady and that he's still alive, but was he at a nursing home or was he at a asylum?
No, I saw that as a nursing home.
Yeah, so it was a nursing home, and they're like, we got to talk to him. Maybe he can tell us how to take care of this guy. And so Jennifer Aniston makes it to the car, and she goes solo.
Leaves them there.
And I was just like, there's more? Like I was kind of mad at that moment, but it actually doesn't get too bad from there. From there, it does pick up and it starts moving along nicely. The ability to see Jennifer Aniston running in any scenario is always an exciting moment, and I did like how well her outfit fit. We'll just say that made the movie worth it.
So when they were getting her out of the house so she could go to find O'Grady.
I'm not going to let you pass over Jennifer Aniston's assets. They're amazing.
They are. They
Sorry.
still are.
Go ahead.
You know. However, I had to, because I wrote this in my notes. So as they were trying to help her get to the truck so she could go to the nursing home, they come out. They figure out that The leprechaun,
the shoes.
leprechaun
fuck.
has to polish shoes every time he finds a shoe. So they go out and start throwing shoes at Warwick Davis, and he's like stopping and polishing every one of them really quick, so he can get them polished, so he can get to them, but he can't leave a shoe unpolished. And
But he keeps throwing them back down in the dirt.
yeah, I know. And this is a weakness of the leprechaun in this film. And I will just say this: going forward from this film on, this never comes up again. So this is exclusively only in this film that this weakness that he has to polish every shoe.
So he doesn't have weaknesses in the other films?
No, he does.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
he doesn't have this one. Like, he doesn't have to polish shoes. However, in my notes, I wrote, is it PC or racist to say that all leprechauns have to polish shoes?
DIJP. Holy fuck. He's even worried about leprechauns, ladies and gentlemen. Not just humans, imaginary creatures. He's got your back.
I got you, Warwick.
Yeah, I was pretty. I remember in the first watch thinking how crappy that was, the shoes, and when I saw it again, I was like, "Oh, that." I thought that was made up. I hope maybe I didn't imagine or remember it correctly, but I do like the four-leaf clover aspect. So Old Man Grady shares them the whole four-leaf clover thing, and the only way they can get this thing onto him, because he just keeps coming, since he is technically a what is he a demon? Is the leprechaun considered a demon? I don't know. He sold his soul for the gold, and he's basically invincible.
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
That's a later film.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, there's more.
Anyways, the boy, the little shithead, he gets a slingshot out of, which I didn't. Did he have that throughout the film at all? Because I don't remember the slingshot coming.
We're going to go with no.
Yeah, because
the
slingshot appeared out of nowhere.
Everything magically appears in this movie.
He wads up the freshly plucked four-leaf clover, and he like a zinger out of nowhere, right down the leprechaun's mouth, and all of a sudden everything starts kind of falling to piece and falling because Warwick or Leprechaun falls down the well. But as he falls down, you start seeing the melting, the decomposition happening. It's really definitely impacting him, and they seem like they finally got it to work. So he popped back up one more time too. He did that just like the gremlin.
You got to have that one last scare,
just like the gremlin. I'm telling you. But I don't know. It wasn't bad. It definitely was good. I'm kind of intrigued to go back and see the other movies.
I also loved when he shot him with the slingshot. He said, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
Yeah, that was good.
So, yeah. One thing a scene we didn't really talk about that I loved was the pawn shop scene, the coin shop.
Okay.
So, because there's little tidbits I loved in that, and there's a little tidbit that I want to talk about that's going to get us back to this, and him leaving there. So, the kid and Ozzy drops one of the gold coins off to him to see how much it's worth. He's like, well, it could be worth $500 or it could be priceless, depending, where this coin is actually from. So he's like, with the weight of the gold and everything, this would be worth $500. So we've got a number of how much these coins are kind of worth, for the weight of gold. And he ends up killing this coin shop guy with a pogo stick. And he bounces on him with a pogo stick, which is a pretty cool death. Could have been gorier, but it's a cool death. And he leaves. He's driving a go-kart pickup truck with a bunch of toys and random things in the back of it, and he gets pulled over by the cop.
Yeah.
And then you get the really cool cop scene. So at this point, there's 2 deaths, and he killed the wife at the beginning. And when she shows up to talk to O'Grady, you don't know if O'Grady's dead at first because Leprechaun is sitting in O'Grady's chair, and she runs off and gets into the elevator, but then O'Grady falls through the elevator roof, and he tells her what she needs to know, then he dies.
That's 4.
So that's 4 deaths. So that's the only 4 deaths in this movie. Nobody else dies. Because at that point, they go back to the house.
Yeah?
Yeah, 4 deaths. So there's not a big kill count in this movie. Now, when they finally they do try to give the leprechaun his coins back, and Ozzy accidentally swallows one coin at the beginning of the film when they first find the gold coins. So they give him the pouch of coins to the leprechaun, and he's like, "Oh, I got what I wanted. I'm counting my coins." And he counts his coins, and he's like, 99. One coin missing, which is 100 coins. There's 100. The 100th coin is in Ozzy's belly because he accidentally swallowed it. So this goes back to $500.
50K. Now,
so yeah, so all this is over $50,000 in
no,
gold.
not really, because he said it could have been priceless. And
It could have been, but the dollar amount we have to go by is 500.
And
so
I guess in the future movies, do you find out what era he became the leprechaun? And
I feel like it does talk about that at some point, but
because that would put your coins at that, and you could find out a value from there.
But at this point in the first movie, this is the number we
50K.
have to go on. So,
yeah, fair enough.
Which makes it hilarious that O'Grady came up. We're rich and riding home.
I mean, for whatever it was, 80 was it? When did this come out? 90. I mean, that's not a horrible number.
No,
so,
but I wouldn't say that I'm filthy rich.
Now
though.
I'm not retiring at 50. That's for sure. Yeah, it's 93. That's right.
Yeah, I knew it was like 90, early 90s. So, all right.
Box office.
Box office. Do you have box office? Because I have it right here.
I do not. Because, yeah.
Do you want to take a guess at budget?
Budget. First time actors.
This one's a pretty low budget. I'm just going to
I was going to say first time actors. So Jennifer Aniston was just, probably took what she can get. I'm going to go. Let's go 1.5 mil.
You're not far off. 900,000 was the estimated box office.
1.5 mil budget. Didn't do as great as I'd hoped until the Jennifer Aniston thing. I'm gonna say it still did okay, and it made like 7 mil.
You're almost You're almost there.
I'm getting this down.
Yeah, there was a $900,000 estimated budget, and it made $8.5 million.
Okay, I'll take it.
So it made enough to spawn multiple sequels.
Multiple little people.
But this movie made a lot of money on VHS and DVD.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because this film, it did not, even though it made money in the theater, it was still kind of considered not a bomb, but not anything special. I saw, let's see if I can find it here. I didn't write it down, but I was reading earlier that this film made more money. Yeah, the film grossed nearly $15 million in sales on VHS and DVD formats after Jennifer Aniston got famous.
That's what I'm telling you.
So it made more money on DVD and VHS.
Warwick literally regretted this movie initially, and I don't blame him if I'm being honest. But the success from Jennifer Aniston definitely helped, without a doubt. All right,
ratings. So you go first. This was mine.
All right, so I said this. So what was the last one we did? Fourth Kind. No, we did a top 5.
We did top 5 comedy.
We don't do ratings on those. So the last one I rated, though, was around a 3, I believe, on the Fourth Kind. I'm going to put this right there at 3. This one for me, CineNerds, is easy because I do feel like this is in the realm of foundational horror, even though the first one was kind of janky as hell. It was definitely more comedy than horror. It gave me more Gremlins vibe. I would say this was even a horror aimed at kids more so than anything. But I only went with 3, if I'm being honest, because Jennifer Aniston is hot and amazing. I
guess the question is, at a 3, do you recommend some people to watch it, or do you not recommend?
I can't talk to that yet because I'm going to watch these sequels now, because I do feel like if he was more vested in this, if he didn't think, I think if he got to do more creativity and was more vested in it, that it could have potential to get better in an interesting way. But I don't know because I haven't seen those yet, and the first one did not land it for me. So I would say if you want a good laugh and you're looking for something on St. Patrick's Day, give it a watch. But I don't know to what extent I would say that.
All right. So for me, I love this series, and you guys have heard me talk about my love for Warwick multiple
I
episodes.
love Warwick. I don't know.
And for me, this series gets better as it goes. Now, I think there's probably a movie or so in there that, and we're not going to talk about the ones that Warwick did not do. I'm just talking about specifically the ones that Warwick plays the Leprechaun. There's, a movie or so maybe in there that I enjoy this one more than maybe one or two of the others. But I kind of enjoy all of these. And now, this one is not my favorite of the series. There are better ones in the series because, like you said, Warwick gets better. Warwick gets more comfortable with his one-liners and what he's doing within this film series. And for me, I love that because they get more fun. The kills get wilder and crazier. The one-liners are insane. So, like, it just gets better. This one, not a lot of kills. It was a good start. I mean, the cast isn't bad. I hate the kid. I do hate the kid. I don't wish, how my opinion, I don't like to see kids die on screen and in films, but this one, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have been that upset if Leprechaun had took him out. But
what was the scene where he was over the kid with something in his face? It was a unique tool. I was hoping he was going to use it.
Oh,
he was over him with something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was bare hands. I don't remember. I thought he was going to do something cool and creative, and he didn't.
Yeah,
so missed opportunity.
It was there, and
missed opportunity.
They fucked up. But that being said, I still love this movie, and this movie I rewatch quite a bit here and there. Not a perfect film, but I'm going to sit it at 3.5.
Okay.
I'm going to sit it at 3.5, and I recommend you watch this film. And I actually recommend diving into some of the other ones, especially Leprechaun in the Hood. I think those are really fun. And you've heard me talk about Leprechaun in Space. I think those are fun. And then 2 and 3 in there. There's great stuff in these. If you like comedy, these comedy horror films, then you're going to have a blast with them. You can't go in expecting The Exorcist or something like that in this film. But if you're going in to watch Tucker and Dale, but with a leprechaun, then you're probably going to have some fun.
Just think Gremlins. If you like Gremlins, give it a watch.
If you like Critters, give it a watch.
I do want to talk a little bit more about Warwick, though. So, we covered Leprechaun in this episode, and but I didn't know the things he's gone through. I didn't know that his wife passed away recently, who played Kaya in Willow, and they met on the set of Willow. I guess she died a year or two ago, and so he's been through a lot in those couple years too. Disney did him dirty. Disney did him real dirty because they brought the Willow franchise back. They had the first season, and then without explanation, as far as I know, maybe you know more, they canceled it. Canceled it, and they removed all Willow from Disney Plus.
Yeah. I think the movie's still on there.
Is it?
I think the movie's, but they took the series off of Disney Plus.
Why?
It
doesn't make any sense.
I enjoyed the Willow series.
I did too.
I had a lot of friends bitching and hating on it, and a lot of people. You had the fanboys, just like Star Wars, hating on it, and that's why it got canceled. You had so many people hating on it, just like you had the fanboys hating on Acolyte. Fanboys are ruining everything, and it's sad because if you watch our review on Acolyte, I was hard on it. I was harder on it than Ryan here. And I even said I wasn't a big fan of Acolyte. I get where some people were complaining, but by the time I got to the end of it, I was excited for a second season. I wanted to see where the series went. Give something a chance to breathe and get it out there. It took Game of Thrones a season before it even got good, for Christ's sake. I mean, you can't base everything off of the first season. A lot of that is storytelling of setting your characters up. And essentially, it's what Willow was doing. It was what Acolyte was doing. And I was enjoying Willow. And you even had Christian Slater. We were talking about Christian Slater, before. You had Christian Slater showing up in the Willow series, which was really cool. And I was excited to see where that series went. And now you can't even rewatch it because, the people complain so much, we're going to take the series off the fucking
There's
platform.
a shit ton of garbage, way worse than that should be removed. Not that. And another one with the fanboys recently. So I am completely, if you guys don't know, completely anti Rotten Tomatoes. I think anyone that's using Rotten Tomatoes to base if they're going to watch cinema in any way, shape, or form, you don't care about film. You're just, I mean, you have to have your own opinion when you see these things, and you have to go in with an open mind. The recent one that I watched that I don't know if you've seen or not, but I watched the new Captain America, Brave New World, and I'll tell you what, it was one of the better installments. It wasn't amazing by any means, but it was one of the better installments out of Marvel in a long time. It actually gave me those old school Captain America, old school Iron Man vibes, and it was a good segue into what's coming out of Marvel, I hope. Better than I anticipated, though, but you wouldn't know that by being online between Rotten Tomatoes and fanboys and everything else, like just shitting all over everything.
I have a friend on my Facebook that, and he's a filmmaker, and I'm not trying to talk shit, but I've seen him do a review. I didn't read all of it because I just didn't really care, because I don't care what people are saying about something. If I want to watch something, I'm going to take the time to go watch it. But he tore this film apart about how bad New Captain America was, and is basically telling everybody to not watch it. And that's the kind of people, I don't listen to people. Why listen to somebody? And I seen him make a post today that saying he was posting numbers and laughing about the fact that Captain America's numbers, the second week numbers, had already dropped off like 65% or whatever because of people not going to watch it because they're listening to people. They're reading reviews of people online, and they're reading reviews or they're looking at numbers on Rotten Tomatoes, and some of these people are just hate things to hate things. And this particular person, there's a lot of, I see some of the stuff, I understand some of the stuff that he complains about, and it's not just him. There's people. It's how people are on the internet. I'm just using this particular guy as an example, and I'm sorry if you see this and you get mad at me. It's not my intent. My intent is, don't take what somebody else is saying. Don't even take what we're saying.
Yeah.
If I don't like something, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to watch it. And I will tell you, would I recommend you watching it? Sure. Or I'll tell you if I don't recommend. But you can take that with what we talk about in the film. You may hear something in it that that interests me. I want to see it. Go fucking watch
an
it.
Invisible
Make your own
Raptor
opinion.
or Lavalantulas. Like,
yeah, I love shit movies, and I love cinematic masterpiece movies. I go all the way around on this,
yeah,
but
for sure.
I'm not going to listen to somebody's review on. I haven't watched Captain America. I don't have an opinion of it. I mean, you heard me before in a previous episode. I said I wasn't super excited about going and seeing Captain America. I want to be excited. I even said I want to be excited because I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, but I've not went out and watched it yet.
So it's a direct sequel from that series.
Oh, I know it is.
And it's also a direct follow-up to Edward Norton's The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And the way they do it is wonderfully done. I thought it was great. I don't think there's too much going on in it. It was focused on the story at hand. Harrison Ford was brilliant as always. I don't think I've seen anything Harrison Ford sucked at. I enjoy most all of his performance, if I'm being honest. And Jesus Christ, dude, the new Captain America, I have no complaints about him. And they even touched on the fact that he's human and not a super soldier. It's so good. I don't know. It gave me a little hope for Marvel and what they're trying to do again.
I will watch it because I watch everything Marvel anyway. And yeah, I've bashed on a lot of Marvel in recent years.
I have too. Don't get me
but
wrong.
I still watch it because I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that I'm going to be excited about something they do again, and so I recommend anybody go watch something.
It was better than anything they put out in Phase 4. I'll just say that.
It's not hard.
No.
It's not hard. I mean, so what? Got any recommendations for this one?
Yeah, so this is so different from what we were just talking about, but I just saw a recent movie that blew my mind in a good way that I hadn't watched yet, called Strange Darling. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was
I
not.
have that in my voodoo.
I did not expect that to be as good as it was at all. I thought it was just going to be solely about a serial killer and a girl escaping from that serial killer, and boy, was I wrong. This movie went all over the place, multiple different paths. There's different chapters in it. It's got I think six. There's 6 chapters, and then there's the epilogue. And the way that they build this thing and they bounce back and forth between the chapters to make it all make sense, it comes together so nicely. It's just a good chase/horror film if you want to check it out.
Yeah, and there was something I watched in the past week or so that I absolutely loved, and I can't remember what the fuck it was right now. So I'm gonna find it, and I'll probably make it a recommendation on next episode or something we do. However, I am going to talk about. I bought a on sale. Voodoo had an anime sale, anime month. It's probably still going on right now. So I like a lot of these. Back to my shitty movie stuff that I like. I like a lot of these really crappy live action anime films.
Oh, and by the way, I have to ask this and interrupt his recommendation. I'm sorry. I saw the live action Attack on Titan in your voodoo.
Yes.
Is that good?
I love it.
I'm gonna give it a watch.
I love it
because I can't handle the anime. Because whoever the main guy that's screaming.
Watch the English dub version though, because the English subtitles are in broken English. They didn't transfer it very well. It didn't translate well.
Okay, that's
fine. So a lot of times I will say, hey, watch the subtitle version, but don't watch the English dub because they fixed the dialogue in the English dub. And if you do the subtitle is like it was a direct translation, and so a lot of the English doesn't make sense from how they translated it. So that one can be a recommendation. So I enjoyed the live action Attack on Titan, and I enjoy the anime. But the one I bought part 1 and part 2 for I think it was like $5 of the anime Parasite.
That's good.
And the live action version it's cheesy and it's bonkers, and I'm here for it. So if you're a fan of the Parasite anime,
there's a sequel though.
Yeah, there's a part 1 and part 2. So if you're a fan of it, if the anime sale's still going on Voodoo, check it out, or go buy it on there. It's a fun series.
It's funny you talk about live action anime because there's so many people that hate on them, and I'm a fan as well. I like the live action Bleach. I like the live action Rurouni Kenshin. There's some good ones for sure.
Yeah, and and one of my first live action ones that I fell in love with was from the '90s. Was the live action Fist of the North Star.
I never saw that. I had the old Game Boy Advance one, the video game, because I loved it so much and the anime so much. So I've never seen a live action.
Let me tell you, now the live action Fist of the North Star. Okay, we're just going to stop. Recommendation right now: Fist of the North Star live action. The cast is because it's an American movie. It's not a Japanese one. Gary Daniels plays the Fist.
Okay.
Castellus Mandalar, how do you say his name? Castello Mandalar played in the Saw movies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
He's the main bad guy.
Okay.
Downtown Julie Brown.
Jesus Christ.
Malcolm McDowell.
Okay.
Chris Penn.
Maybe I did see this.
Chris Penn. Fucking Vader. The wrestler.
Yeah.
Vader is in this film. Clint Howard is in this film.
That doesn't do much for me.
Does everything for me. It's absolutely early 90s action film. It's so good. It's crazy. And the thing is, I don't think you can stream it anywhere. It is available on DVD, but
I will find it.
I can hook you up with that.
Okay.
So, if you want to check out, those are a couple of cool live action animes. There's a bunch more I could name, but yeah. The Parasite one's on Vudu. It's a fun one. and yeah, Fist of the North Star and the Attack on Titan live action.
We've got really into our recommendations today, so we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out our episode on Leprechaun, and thanks for hearing our recommendations and our little banter. Hopefully, you guys are liking what we're doing. So, like JP said at the beginning, check out that CineNerdsPodcast.com, and yeah, that's all we got.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Fuck your Lucky Charms.
Later.